All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. We know you're all very busy, and we do appreciate you guys coming to be with us to see what we've been working on for the last 3 months. It's been a wild ride. I've learned more than I ever thought I could about software, and actually retained some of it. This capstone project was really, we had the training wheels on for 3 months, and they took them off and they pushed us down a hill. And so we, as they mentioned, are Team Ceres Greens. My name's Connor Greenbaum. I'm a UVM graduate with a double business major in finance and entrepreneurship, and these are my teammates behind me.
My name's also Connor. Connor McGinnis, and I've previously worked as an Apple certified support professional, and just prior to enrolling at Burlington Code Academy, I was employed at Dealer.com as a support analyst.
My name's Adam Shappy, studied chemistry in college and worked in limited energy for a little bit, and yeah, so I'm here now.
My name's Nick Castle. I have a 4-year computer science degree from UVM. I recently graduated in December. Thank you all for coming tonight.
So, Ceres Greens is a company based in Barre, Vermont. They grow leafy greens indoors hydroponically in vertical stacks. And in this environment, they must really monitor and be able to know exactly what's going on when you're growing in an environment where you've removed Mother Nature, essentially. And when we saw the project, we were really interested because, agriculture is a huge thing in Vermont. And as natural resources become more and more scarce, different creative ways of farming are going to become more and more popular. And they will need to use technology. And so we saw it as something that would be, would be down the road being a very big thing, and it was also something that was close to home. So we jumped on the project immediately. And while everything in Barre was going well, the software they were using didn't quite meet the needs that they were looking to, and that's why they came to us. And I'm going to have Connor explain exactly what wasn't quite working.
Thanks, Connor. So just to reiterate what my teammates said, we work with Ceres Greens, a vertical farming organization based out of Barre, Vermont, as represented here by CTO Greg Kelly. Let's go, Greg. To elaborate a little bit more on the issues that Greg was facing with the software that they were using to collect those data points including humidity, temperature, water level, what have you, that was really lacking in the software that they were using. Plus, the dashboard that they were utilizing did not have a very user-friendly user interface, and that was one thing that Greg really wanted us to hone in on. The byproduct of that was sleek, it was simple, and it was pretty sexy too, if I can talk that up a little bit to go into a little bit of the technologies that we utilized. I'll pass this off to Adam Shappy.
Thank you, Connor. All right, so for the design phase of this project, we actually went down to Ceres Green and got to get a first-hand experience and a look at the facility. We were able to witness, the pumps, the hydroponic pumps, the LEDs all hooked up in circuit, and from there it helped us inform our idea of how we want our app to actually look, how the dashboard will appear. We actually used InVision to create the wireframe for our app. This was kind of the starting point. We wanted something that was really simplistic and modular. To compare it to what Greg was working with before this, it was a little bit cumbersome and hard to access your sensors and really see right there on the dashboard what exactly you need. So we felt like we did a pretty good job of prioritizing which data that you want to see. As you can see here, there's an alert log. We've got it really just kind of looks like a weather app. Very basic and simple, and can be modified for future expansion. So under the hood, we have these technologies. We utilized a component-driven framework called React.js to build our app. We collected data in Influx. We worked with OpenMonix's newly developed cloud API, and connected to their sensors and random stuff. But we also developed some charts with the visualization library called Chart.js. And to tie it all together, we use JavaScript, HTML, CSS. I'm going to pass it on to Connor.
So, good thing we named the same name. So, right before we put this on the screen, I just want you guys to sort of be ready to look at the different features that it has. This is going to look like a simple, as Adam kind of said, it's a weather app, and it's intentional. It's designed for the world we live in today, where time is precious, and you don't want to be looking through things trying to figure out what you're looking at. You want to pull it out, look at it, and put it away right away. And that's good software. So, without further ado, we're going to throw this up on the screen here and let you guys take a look.
Alright, so I'm going to take you guys through what we came up with for an app. As you can see, there's big symbols, big values on the screen. That's something Greg really emphasized. And these values are actually pulling from sensors down in Berry, going through the OpenModix API software that Adam mentioned, routing back to our influx database, and being displayed here within the matter of seconds. We also thought it would be pretty cool to add this alert log so that Greg could see if anything was wrong, if anything was okay. We actually wrote a script so that these values would be changing, so you can see that these warnings update dynamically. Another big feature that he wanted was to see historical data, so we added in a chart section. And here we have air temperature and humidity that you can compare both at once. If you want to just see one, see one. And we also have water temperature and water level. I thought one of the coolest and most challenging and also most satisfying things about this was integrating with this OpenModix software that was already built, based in Belgium actually. So we had to have some communication with someone all the way across the globe, which was really cool. And also, the database that we were taught in class is MongoDB. It's a NoSQL-based database, and Influx is a SQL-based database, so there was a little bit of a learning curve. But it was really cool. Actually, just connecting to the OpenModix API took a couple days. We were working on it for hours and hours and hours, just to not even use it. So what we ended up with was just pulling everything from our Influx database, which collects all the information, which is really what Greg wanted.
Yeah, so I'm just going to add a couple of contributions that I thought were really cool. Going into this, it was new for us to do a lot of connecting to the API, and so before we did any coding, we actually got to use a new tech called Postman, where we could drill down and actually and look at where we're going to be pulling data from. Ultimately, we did not end up using some of those routes that we found, but it was a fun process and interesting to see. Additionally, it was really cool, I thought, how we were able to, since there was no data for some of this up quite yet, because they're still in the experimental phase, it was really cool how we were able to actually write some scripts to give you guys a little bit of mock data to see how everything's working. Yeah.
I thought a great part of the overall experience was the working with Greg to really narrow down the scope of his expectations, his desires, his needs, and how our newly acquired toolkit will be able to assist him in delivering that. And while maybe we pestered him just a little too much, like, hey Greg, can you video chat with us again today? That probably made for a pretty fun experience in Barry as well too, I'm sure. But getting that real world experience and that orientation of what it is to actually be a software developer or a web developer was, I think, by far the most invaluable part of the experience.
Yeah, and I mean, we built this thing from scratch. None of this existed 2 weeks ago. It was really cool to start putting things on a screen and be like, okay, this needs to go here. And we'd look at it at the beginning, it was like, this is really ugly. We would bang our heads off the wall to get through one line of code. I think we spent 3 hours waiting to put what's known as an await, so that it would wait for data to come in before it took the next step. And little things like that as developers, I'm sure we'll run into time in and time out. But this was kind of the cool part of the project, was seeing what it was going to be like firsthand. And so then there's 4 systems here that all speak different languages that we're pulling into one system and making them all play nice and work for you within seconds. I mean, this data is being taken right now, minus the water, but it's being taken from Barry, sent to Belgium, routed to our database, and then projected on the screen. And it's pretty cool. And then the other side is that we, you know, working with clients, seeing what their problem is, assessing that, and then creating a solution is really what we're going to be doing in the real world. And so that was a huge takeaway from that, from this. And then, you know, so really that was a cool part. And then software is meant to sort of make the world a better place, at least in the perfect world. And so, you know, we were excited to be able to help a small business become more competitive, be more efficient, and really, you know, do a better job of what they're doing and be able to sustain themselves over a longer period of time. So, you know, with that, we created this. We'd like to thank everyone who came here tonight, and if you'd like to talk to us more, we'll be over here, and you can come look at the code.